Boker Tov, Irvine, California. Erev Tov in a lot where a little birdie tweeted into my ear that it was pouring today, pouring rain in a lot. It's a good sign. It's a good sign that it's raining here in Washington, D.C. too. We're a day after Halloween. We're together. America-Israel Friendship League brings you every Sunday an opportunity to figure out what time zone you're in. And today, everybody is confused, but whether you're going to have brunch or lunch or breakfast or dinner, we've got just desserts for you. And everyone's got an extra hour to enjoy it. And we've got two amazing chefs, and they've got some great recipes and great stories to share with you today. My name's Wayne Firestone. I'm the executive director of the America-Israel Friendship League. Friendship is our middle name. That's what we do. We bring people together over common passions. And shockingly, we've found that these foodie episodes are ones that people really enjoy. So tell us where you're calling in from. I see people from Northern California, from Pennsylvania, from Maryland, from Poughkeepsie, New York. Wherever you are today, we're going to have some baking treat and recipes for you. Share this if you're with us on Facebook with a live watch party like I'm doing right now. You never know who's awake at this hour, particularly now that they got an extra hour to sleep. Maybe they'll join us as well. So we're going to have some fun today. The program's entitled Just Desserts because that's all we're going to talk about. But these are some hybrid recipes, and we are with some very passionate bakers who are going to share some of their secrets with you. And yes, I'm telling you up front, they're going to share the recipes as well. So today you get to watch, learn a little bit, and if something really speaks to you, whether you're in Cincinnati or Tucson or Little Rock or Yorba or Sarasota or Queens or Florida or Fair Lawn, New Jersey, you can make these recipes as well. So I've got Keren Agam in a stunning home kitchen, shaking out her hair, getting ready for us, teasing us. Yeah, wow, okay, you're ready. It looks like you've got the Jaffa spirit with you, and we need some of that. We need the Jaffa spirit this week in the United States. So thanks for being our friends on this episode today. Keren's a passionate baker who loves to bake at home, figured that out, and figured out, hey, there are other people out there who want to share this experience. Yes. She writes about it. She blogs about it. She teaches workshops on it. Go visit her in Jaffa. We can't wait to get on the plane and come visit you in Jaffa and see your kitchen and see you do this in person. But for now, we'll take all the cameras and all the loving help that you've given to us. Shannon Sarna is a multi-talented woman who is the co-host of a podcast called Call Your Mother. Got that? Call Your Mother. So if you remember nothing else on this episode, you should listen to Sharon's podcast. And if you can't, then at least call your mother. And she is a foodie with books about baking. She writes for Kveller, which is 70 Faces Media, great friends of ours doing great things to really sort of get the word out and share really from the diversity of the Jewish experience with our many, many friends around the world. So I'm going to let each of you take a few minutes to tell us a little about the kitchen you're cooking from and who's surrounding you today, and just a little bit of a personal intro. So Keren, first with you in Jaffa, Israel. Is it raining in Jaffa today too, or just?
No, luckily, no. It's still summer here, and I'm very happy for that.
Okay, so bring us a little summer and tell us about how you got into your own passion of cooking and your own family background. What influenced you in this journey of yours?
Well, actually, it all came out accidentally. I was not supposed to become a baker, and it came out only 10 years ago when I just started baking. I made a cake for a birthday party of my best friend, and the cake came out amazing, and everybody asked for the recipe, and that opened me the passion for baking, and I started baking like crazy. There was no Instagram back then. It was only Facebook, and I used to post the pictures of my pastries every Friday. And I have a very good friend, an Israeli blogger, who kept telling me I must open a blog of myself, and I didn't want to do that. So she opened the blog for me, and she puts a cake, a picture of a cake from my Facebook in there, and that's how it all began. And I started posting cakes, and people started to make the cakes, and it was amazing. Because I think that when you bake something and you teach other people how to bake something and they give it to someone else, so it's all about love. This is how I see baking. I think I'm giving love when I'm baking something and giving someone a cake or whatever. So it's like giving love and getting love back. And who doesn't like to be loved? So this is how I began with all the baking, and it came out like it's for almost 10 years, yes, but it just it came out bigger and bigger, and I started having people in my house for workshops. It was very little in the beginning, and then it was growing, and this is what I do most today. I host people in my house in Jaffa. I don't know if you all know Jaffa, but Jaffa is an amazing city in Israel, next to Tel Aviv. It's a place where I think it's the best place because Jews and Christians and Muslims live all together, and we are all the same here. And this is very important for me in Israel. And this is where I grow my kids. And that's it. What
That's
else?
great. Yeah, that's great.
I see the beach every day. I go to the beach. I surf. I dive. I dance. I do everything I love.
Oh, you are spreading the love from Jaffa today. We visited on our virtual tour to Jaffa just a week ago, and so we can picture the vibe and we can picture the beach. Shannon,
yeah.
In New Jersey, can you see the beach from where you are?
I mean, not part of New Jersey, though it is very rainy, which is lovely, which is why my hair is straight. Thanks for having. There's so much about what Keren is sharing that I really connect with, about sort of like accidentally falling into baking and into the digital media space. If I look a little tired, it's because I'm sort of recovering from Halloween with my 3 young kids. So please forgive me if I have bags under my eyes and maybe like I doze off a little bit. I live outside of New York City in South Orange, New Jersey. We also call it Brooklyn West because so many Brooklynites have relocated here. And I too, like Keren, really accidentally fell into baking, into a professional life in food media. I really entered the food space through the doorway of digital media and storytelling. I had started working at Hillel International, actually with Wayne, many years ago, and eventually became a communications manager and really found a passion for storytelling and connection online. First, like Keren said, on Facebook, then Twitter, and then Instagram. And so I'm the editor of a website called The Nosher. We're also Jewish food on Instagram and Facebook. And that has grown exponentially over the last 9+ years, both as food has exploded and also as people have connected more and more with food as a hobby and a passion and sort of like an extracurricular activity. And so we really love seeing that passion and connectivity through food, and of course through Jewish food. I am not a trained chef. I am very much a home baker cook, although I come from a family of very passionate and diverse food backgrounds. My grandfather, Edward Sarna of blessed memory, he was a food chemist for General Foods and patented things like Tang and the process for freeze drying coffee, all of which I didn't discover until his funeral, which is just kind of so Jewish, right? And I'm actually a pizza bagel. My mom's Italian and my dad's Jewish, so we call that a pizza bagel here in America. And then I have some really amazing family from South America as well. So we're really a true American Jewish family in the diversity. And I certainly bring that perspective to my own kitchen and to my role as editor of The Nosher.
Shannon, thanks for sharing the image of the pizza bagel. We will get to bagels, and even though you may not be a trained chef, you are a trained critic and food critic, and we know you have some opinions on some of the dishes we're creating. Keren, let's start with you first. You both are working off of a really popular recipe, but only you can pronounce it the way we all need to get excited this morning. So tell us about your first dish, and we'll actually flash up the ingredients if anybody wants to see if they have it around the house and start working on it. So tell us about dish number one you're going to create today.
Okay, so the first dish is the Rugelach Cake. I think people all around the world know the Rugelach as a Jewish dish. Usually it comes in small Rugelach cakes, like, And a few years ago, I made Rugelach, and I didn't have enough space in my oven. So I took some pan and I just put all the Rugelach together, and it came out from the oven as a one cake that you can just, like a pull-apart bread, but with Rugelach. And it came out amazing. I don't know if somebody invented it in some other place in the world, but I felt like it was mine. And I was so happy, and I posted it, and it became really famous in Israel. So everybody makes Rugelach cake. I think that usually people make Rugelach with chocolate filling, but I love the cinnamon better. And I have a journalist friend who lately made a research about Rugelach all around the world, and she came out that the original Rugelach from Poland, maybe East Europe, was cinnamon Rugelach, which is my best ever flavor. So I love cinnamon Rugelach, and I'm going to make the Rugelach cake filled with the cinnamon. Okay?
Great. Sounds great.
And I of course, I pre-make the, okay. The dough is ready, of course. The yeast dough is ready. And I'm just going to roll it in a minute. So should I talk about the ingredients?
Sure, go ahead while you're making
So the dough is with butter and milk and eggs, which is very different from the next dish I'm going to make, which is totally vegan. And I think that when we make a cake, a yeast cake, so I like it to be very juicy. So I love the eggs and the butter inside and the milk. And the cinnamon paste will be made from butter and brown sugar. Can they see the top camera?
Yes.
I hope. Okay.
Yes.
And just cinnamon. I'm going to mix everything together. Okay. I will start by mixing everything together. 1 minute. So my butter should be a little bit.
There we go.
Soft, but it's not. Okay. It will be in a minute. I add the brown sugar inside and I mix them together.
So I actually was just talking about the original fillings for some of these Polish, Austrian, Ukrainian desserts like Rugelach, like babka. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the United States and in Israel, similarly, chocolate is considered one of the most iconic, right? And these desserts have been modified and made even more modern with, savory fillings and meat fillings and all kinds of crazy things. A lot of people balk and say, this is not the original, as if the only flavors that could be chocolate and cinnamon, but chocolate was really not a widely available ingredient, certainly not in Poland and Ukraine of our, great grandparents and great great grandparents. That is really, an addition of the 20th century, because chocolate wasn't widely available really anywhere until later. So I wouldn't call it an exclusively American iteration, but it's certainly a more modern iteration and a deviation from what babka and rugelach had looked like and tasted like, back in the old country.
Yeah. And still in Israel, the most famous rugelach is chocolate rugelach.
It's chocolate rugelach.
Yeah, we have a very famous market in Jerusalem called Machne Yehuda Market. And there's a very nice shop there called Marzipan, and they have very, very, very small chocolate rugelach, which are famous all around the world. So I think that usually when we make rugelach, everybody expects us to make it with chocolate.
Are there any savory rugelach that are featured in bakeries or by Instagrammers in Israel these days, or is it mostly sweet?
The rugelach?
Yeah. Do you see any savory varieties?
Yes, lots of pizza or pesto, cheese.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people who are familiar with the cinnamon recipe. Others are talking about using walnuts as well.
Yeah, walnuts come with cinnamon also, usually. I think it goes together.
But we definitely have quite a few chocoholics who have made it very clear that that's their favorite.
Of course. I have to say that in my workshops, I usually make for dessert, we make all together, the Rugelach cake, and I make it with cinnamon. And it's always like, oh no, I wanted to have some chocolate. And I said, okay, just wait till it comes out from the oven and you taste it and you change your mind. And it's always like that. And always people say, wow, it's better than chocolate. It is. Okay, so this one is ready. It will wait here. And now I can roll my dough. Just spread some flour. And start rolling. It's a very tough sport, rolling dough. Let's move this. So I don't know if anyone ever did that before, but when you work with dough, sometimes it's not going well. Something is not moving, so you can always just do that, and it will give you love back. So now I'm going to spread the cinnamon. All over. Well, the best way to do that is with the spatula. I think this is the best therapy ever.
Yeah, we have a comment from Robin who says that baking is so comforting during the pandemic, and this is definitely one of the reactions that we've seen from people is that you need to do something with your hands, you need to keep busy, you need to remind yourself of the senses.
So it's all over the world, huh? No, not only in Israel.
Very much, very much.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because people became really spoiled, and at that time, so many people went into the kitchen and make their own bread.
Yeah, I think not only bread, and of course, like sourdough really exploded in the United States as a new hobby. But I've just seen an explosion of people baking challah for the first time and making it a weekly habit, which, of course, I love because it's my passion of baking challah. But it was one of the the beautiful things or the more positive things to come out of this experience, I think, of people connecting not only with doing something with their hands or baking, but also with maybe a part of their Jewishness that they never really considered before.
Yeah, back to the roots. And in Israel, I became really big during COVID-19, and my name was Keren Corona. So, and I really became, I was like with 20K at the beginning in March. Today I'm 110K on Instagram. It's huge. But I think so many people wanted to learn how to bake at home suddenly, and it's amazing. I think this is amazing. That's a great surprise. And this is something good came out of all this thing. So now I'm going to just take it all up and roll it again, just a little bit.
That
and
dough
I'm going to,
beautiful.
Sorry?
The dough looks really beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's giving me a lot of love. So, and this is from your family, right? From Italy.
Yeah.
So, so the pizza roller, we use it for that. So I'm going to cut it into two in the middle. And now I can just start making the rugelach like this. I don't care if they're even and they look the same. I think this is one of the best things about a home baker is that you can do whatever you want. There's no one standing here and saying you shouldn't do that or this, or you don't have any rules. You are the rules. Okay, so now they're all ready. I can just take one of them, and I want to start rolling it like this, very tight into a small rugelach. Everybody can see that? It's cute.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to, I will spread the paper on my baking pan, and I'm going to put one of them inside, and then I can just put all of them together in here, and I don't care about the shape. So they will all, they're just, I'm gonna throw them there.
Are all of those rugelach going to go into one pan?
Yeah, one pan.
And is that a 10? I know it's I'm talking in American measurements, but what's the size of that round pan?
The round pan is like 28 centimeters.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but wait,
28 centimeters.
I'll convert.
I'm trying to ask someone here. כמה זה 28 סנטימטר? כן. Okay, we're trying to figure that out.
I'm just going to Google it. That's why we have Google.
13 inches.
13. So that's pretty large for an most Americans might have like a 9-inch or a 10-inch pan. So that's definitely a bit larger than many people would have in their kitchen.
I have a solution for that. They can go on layers.
Okay.
You know, they can make a layer and then put a top one. So maybe they should bake it a little bit longer.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of questions and a couple of comments coming in, and then I'm going to move to Shannon shortly for her twist. The question that came in from Jerry is whether it's possible to use flaxseed egg instead of eggs. So in other words, we do have some, I know you're going to do a vegan recipe next, but does anyone know about trying to prepare this without eggs?
I do.
Okay, perfect question.
I think you can just drop the eggs, and If you do it vegan, so you might want to use any kind of oil, either, I don't know, maybe even if it's a coconut oil or any kind of oil, so you can just add a little bit more oil and it becomes great.
Okay. So
but I think the problem will be with the cinnamon paste that we used to make with butter, and if you're not making it with something like butter, which is it's not like oil.
Solid. You
so
want
solid. In Israel, if you're vegan or you're kosher, you make it with margarine.
Yeah, someone asked about that.
Yeah.
How much cinnamon, people are asking, should you put in?
2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to point out that Steve on the call translated from the Yiddish that Rugelach means little twists.
Little twists. Okay. Sounds
so
reasonable.
as you're twisting your individual pieces, I think we can understand where that came from. So yeah. Shannon, did the Rugelach make a big twist once it sort of headed over the Atlantic and made it from the shtetl into the American lexicon and menu?
Yeah, and it's very interesting. I think I saw somebody ask about the cream cheese version, which is what I'll show in just a little bit. But it's pretty cool, I think, how integral cream cheese, which was invented in the 1930s, actually here in New York, has played in Jewish American cooking, Jewish American baking. So the Rugelach that came from Europe and dispersed to both Israel and North America, it really took 2 divergent paths. It used to be more of a dough, like what Keren is making right now. And a lot of dishes adapted to the ingredients that were available in the United States. Of course, there was no such thing as bagels and cream cheese and lox in Poland either. You know, that was a truly Jewish American invention and innovation to that food. And the same could be said for Rugelach, which is now often made or found in the United States with a cream cheese, butter, flour dough. It's a very simple dough. It's more akin to a sugar cookie dough than a pastry dough like what Keren is making. Simultaneously, in Israel, as the Rugelach migrated over there, a lot of Israeli chefs went to pastry school in Europe and brought back a French Viennoise style pastry to a lot of Jewish baked goods. And of course, one of those is Ori Shaft of Lechamim, or Bread's Bakery, who really made a splash in the United States with his bakery, Bread's Bakery, which opened in about 7 years ago off of Union Square in New York City. You can see in his style of both babka and Rugelach, which are interestingly made with the same dough. He took a lamination style, and lamination is the process for making things like croissants. So what they do is they roll out dough, just like what Keren did. They roll out that big dough, and then they take butter, and they pound out the butter into a block, and they fold the butter over and over and over again into the dough, which creates those beautiful flaky layers. And when they bake, those little pockets of butter burst and create pockets and create flakiness. And that is what a coveted croissant would have inside of it. And so what Ori Shaft did was he combined traditional Jewish baking and a more French style into this gorgeous babka dough. And babka kind of exploded in the United States. And it presented a whole new kind of era for what American Jews were thinking about. And his Rugelach are the same way. I think for American Jews who go and travel to Israel, you know, the marzipan Rugelach that Keren was talking about is a very iconic image and taste because it's so different from what American Jewish Rugelach are, which are flakier cookies. They're 2 different shapes. You can find them. I'm going to show you the more twisted or horn shape that is maybe a little bit more comes from, you know, Europe. But you can find them in these swirled kind of cookies. There was even a picture that we showed a little while ago, and it's just a little easier and it's a little bit more American. But I don't think it's any less delicious. I think it's equally delicious, just different.
So, Keren, are your rugelach going in the oven?
Yeah, I'm going to let them rise for about 40 minutes, but I pre-made, don't worry. I have another one in the oven. So they are going for a rest for like 40 minutes and then egg wash and to the oven, okay?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
They do a second rise for 40 minutes before you bake them.
Yeah, it's a whole different, you know, everything is different after it rises. So it needs a lot of time to come out very soft and
do you add a sugar syrup after they come out of the oven?
Of course, it's already waiting for me. And when the ready Rugelach cake will come out, I will show you how I spread. We don't just spread; we let it swim in the syrup, in the sugar syrup.
All right. Well, let's swim back over to Shannon's house. Yeah, there's some shots of Keren preparing what you're about to see. We'll show you the final dish that's in the oven at the moment. Shannon, let's hear your twist on rugelach.
So this is the more traditional American Jewish rugelach that I was talking about just a few minutes ago. I'm lightly dusting my work surface. This is a Silpat rolling sheet. You can use it for any kind of dough that you might be working on, and I use it for kind of everything. So I made my batch of Rugelach dough, which has to chill, unlike Keren's this morning. It is a very, very simple recipe. It is 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of butter, 1 block of cream cheese, a pinch of salt or 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and half a teaspoon of vanilla if you have it. If you don't have it, you can totally leave it out. Vanilla is very expensive right now at the moment. So I let that chill for the last couple hours. You can make this ahead of time, which was, I think, a great thing about the American regular dough. You can just leave it in the fridge and bake it a couple days later, or even freeze the dough. And I split my dough into, so you can see it's super simple. I split my dough into 4 parts, and I'm gonna start by, sorry, close your ears for a second.
It seems very natural.
I'm just banging it out a little bit so I can roll it more easily. So the thing that I always tell people about this dough is that you actually don't want to over mix it, because like that flakiness that I was talking about with the Israeli style Bread's Bakery rugelach that are made with a fancier laminated pastry, if you over mix your butter and your cream cheese, you won't get any little chunks of butter, and you kind of want to still leave it in. So if you can see, there's still chunks of butter in there, and I actually want that. I don't want it to be super smooth, because then it won't have a flakiness to it. It'll still taste delicious, but this way you're kind of faking out and adding a little bit more of a flaky effect to it. I'm just flouring all of my work surface and the dough and the rolling pin as I go. I'm so tired, I don't even know my words. So
Shannon, this is not even a yeast dough, right? It's a short crust pastry, or
exactly. It's a short dough. It chills
totally
2 hours, no yeast.
Okay.
And I would say most American Jews don't even know that rugelach can be made with a yeasted dough. It's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm rolling this. I'm going to roll it into about an 8-inch round, which I can see because I have these rounds on the work surface that I'm using. And I learned to make rugelach because my Jewish grandma was a terrible cook and never ever baked. I did not learn this from her. She just turned 96 years old this week. She's unbelievable, but a baker she is not. My mom was a baker, but of course she wasn't Jewish. So I didn't make rugelach with her. I learned this from another blogger. Her name is Samantha Ferrara, and she told me some of her tricks. She's half Ashkenazi, half Sephardi, married to an Italian guy, raised in Hawaii. So she brought her own diversity to baking and blogging and cooking, and it's something I really loved about her. So she taught me that I should use a cake round to measure out my rugelach and cut them so they're perfect, and also to use a pizza cutter to make the as perfect possible cuts and shapes. So I very much appreciate what Keren says about it not needing to be perfect, and I definitely agree. The only thing I will say is that, you know, if you want your baking to look as perfect as possible, you want it to have a beautiful aesthetic, the more perfect you measure it and the more perfect that you cut it, the more even that it will bake, and also the more beautiful it will look. But it will still taste delicious, even if you didn't cut it perfectly. So I have this round dough that I've rolled out, and it's now just slightly, pull myself back, slightly, the dough is slightly larger than the round now, and I'm going to use my pizza cutter to cut off the excess. Oh gosh, I hope my children are not descending. They'll be so mad that they didn't get to do this video with me. I have a 4-year-old and 8-year-old girl, and they love to bake with me. So now I have a perfect round. And this is at the point where I would say you can fill it with anything, with the exception that it should be kind of spreadable and thick. And that I like to add a crunchy layer also. So the two flavors I'm going to share today, super American and super easy. We're not making anything. I have raspberry jam and mini chocolate chips. And then if you're a Trader Joe's obsessive like I am, I have this cinnamon bud spread. So also cinnamon, but I'm not making anything. You can use the same kind of filling like Keren just shared and do your own homemade cinnamon with cinnamon, sugar, butter, pinch of salt, maybe some pumpkin pie spices, something like that. But I'm a busy mom, so I'm just doing it the easiest way that I can today. So let's start with raspberry and chocolate chip, which was one of my favorite combinations. This is not a place where you want to use the fancy jam that you bought at the farmer's market for your toast. Because first of all, you won't really be able to appreciate the flavor. You're not using a ton of it. And second of all, I learned this trick from a pastry chef in New York City who told me that the higher the sugar content, the less it would leak out and get really messy. So this comes up a lot with Hamantaschen, where people will call me, email me, text me around Purim and say, why are my Hamantaschen leaking? And it's either that they didn't pinch it tight enough, or you're using a filling that's too liquidy, and so it's leaking all over the place. So if you use something that's thicker and that's kind of junkier, like even that has high fructose corn syrup, it will leak less. So I'm just using store-bought raspberry jam. And in this case, unlike what I would advise with, let's say, chocolate or flour, you can use whatever is on sale and kind of gross for your health, because you're using a small amount and it will leak less. I'm adding mini chocolate chips on top, not big ones. You could also do some shaved chocolate or some chopped chocolate, but you don't want big chocolate chips because they won't melt right, and you'll have big chocolate and it won't be able to roll the rugelach right also. So this is a place where I am quite specific. If you're adding some kind of crunchy topping, like nuts or chocolate or coconut, whatever those things are that you might add as a filling, they should be on the smaller side. Less is.
I've never tried that with jam and chocolate. I've never tried that.
I'm gonna make it. The only thing more American I could do today is if I did s'mores filling, but I felt like you're too sophisticated, Keren. I had to leave that one for another time. I respect you too much. Side note, I'm a big fan of Keren, and I've been following her for years. So now I'm so honored that I get to bake with her today.
Thank you.
If you're not on Instagram or you don't follow her already, you really should, because her creations are unbelievably gorgeous and really, really inspiring. I mean, I'm now like already like, do I have time today to bake the Rugelach cake? Because I really want to. It's so beautiful.
I'm coming to New Jersey.
Oh, any time, but only if you're gonna help bake with my kids.
Okay.
All right.
Mikey,
Shannon, show us what you're going to do with that pizza slicer.
Not do anything with my husband or my children right now. So I am going to try and make this as even as possible. I'm going to cut it down the middle. Sometimes I even fold it ahead of time so I can do it as evenly. And then I'm gonna cut it down the middle again. And then I'm gonna do it again. So then I'm cutting it into 8 pieces. So you can see that even though our doughs are different, our fillings are different. There's a lot about actually the technique of what we're doing that is similar. Yeah. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm not gonna make any inappropriate jokes. And I am also, like Keren, I'm gonna start rolling it up from the wider side, not from the pointed side, from the wider side. So I'm gonna roll it up, and you can see it also has that same shape. So awesome. I'm not gonna make mine into a cake. I'm gonna put mine on a baking sheet with parchment. And then these are gonna get an egg glaze. Keren, did you say yours get an egg glaze also?
Sorry?
Yours get an egg, get washed with egg before they bake, or only a sugar syrup afterwards?
No. First, the egg wash first and before the oven. And then when it comes out of the oven, so I add the sugar syrup, and I'm ready to do it. Can you see how beautiful this is?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's the sun.
That's from out of the oven, right?
Sun. It's the smell is amazing. It's wow. So can I add the syrup
let's
now?
go. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I will just I have to say that the cake must be hot. Like when it's coming from the oven, the sugar syrup can be either hot or just warm a little bit, but you don't put the syrup on a cold cake, okay? Because that way the syrup will not be able to go to the dough, and it will just going to kill it. So I'm not even spreading like this. I can just, you see? I'm pouring.
Oh, wow.
Wow. This is wow. I always say that if you find yourself making an yeast cake, so you're probably not on a diet.
No, this doesn't look like the dietetic version, although there are some people asking about stevia, if you can use like a sugar substitute.
I guess so, but I must say that I don't have the experience with them, but I think that there's no problem of doing that.
Okay, so once you, because I know we have one more recipe that we want to try to get in for you as well. So is this what it's going to look like going back into the oven?
This is not going back to the oven now.
It's ready to go.
It's ready to eat.
Okay.
This is after the oven.
After the oven. Okay. So dish 1, that's what it's going to look like. Afterwards, how long does it need to sit before it can be served?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So yeah, we can dig in.
Yeah, we cannot wait.
Okay. Shannon, are you got something to show us as well?
I'm just going to add one more different filling, and it'll be really fast. I'm doing exactly the same process with another piece of the dough. This recipe makes quite a lot of rugelach. You can usually get about 40 rugelach out of that small batch. So I do like to make kind of half at a time. It's a great thing to do around the holidays because it'll make so many. And if you do have kids or grandkids that you like to bake with, I think it's a great activity like challah. It's easy enough that they can do it, and there's really good, clear steps for making rugelach with kids. They like to pick the filling and do the spreading and doing the cutting. So this one, after I just finished rolling it into the proper round size, and if it doesn't quite fit over that pan, it's okay. It will still taste delicious, and you can still roll them up just fine. You can see I'm cutting off the excess. I'm not going to throw out that excess dough. I'm actually going to save it because it's usually so much excess dough that I can get one extra batch of rugelach out of it. So you can see I kind of have a little hole there. I'm just going to take a little piece of dough and bake it. And this time I'm going to use my cinnamon bun filling, and then I'm going to add walnuts on top. But I love also Nutella or chocolate spread with chopped nuts. You could do a chocolate spread with crumbled halva. And like we were talking about before, you can also do savory varieties. So I really love making pizza rugelach or everything bagel rugelach. You can do pesto and cheese. Really, there's so many possibilities. So I think it's the kind of project that the dough is simple enough to make, and you can really have a lot of fun with the flavors that you like or what you have on hand in your kitchen. So cinnamon bun filling, and I'm going to do walnuts on top. I think somebody was asking about walnuts before. Yep. Somebody else said raisins. You know, so you can really try different combinations based on what you like or what you have.
So
around.
We heard halava, and someone looks like Anna is very interested in your s'more filling. Myrna has pointed out that she just put on a few pounds just by looking at Keren's recipe. Okay, Keren, what is a challah bagel or bagel challah? What is this heretical thing that you're working on?
Okay, I think I promised you that I will send you the Rugelach cake.
Yes, you did.
I don't know how.
Oh, you could just send it to my house, no problem.
Okay, so let me just tell you about the Jerusalem bagel challah. You all know what is challah. It's very traditional. It's the Israeli not Israeli. Sorry. It's the Jewish traditional bread that I think we all bake on Fridays. And also Jerusalem bagel is a very famous dish in Israel. And I used to make Jerusalem bagels for a long time. And one day I went to a birthday party again for another friend, and I made the bagels, and I just made them long and dipped them in water and sesame. And then I said, oh, I didn't want to make bagels, I wanted to make challah. So I did the challah from the bagels, and I called it Jerusalem bagel challah, and it became really famous in Israel. And this is my every Friday challah. And I love it, and it's amazing, and it's beautiful. So we'll talk about the dough, we're still on the yeast dough. It's a very, very simple dough to make. I like to use pizza flour, but you can either use bread flour or just white flour. And it's vegan, which means it doesn't have any eggs or any milk. It's based on water and just a little bit of olive oil. And when I say a little bit, I mean only 2 tablespoons of olive oil for 1 kilo of flour. Very simple and amazing. And usually I let the dough rise, and then I do the balls. Okay, I usually I'm weighting the dough. And then if let's say I'm going to make today 2 kinds of challah. One is from 5 and round challah from 4. So I need 9 balls of dough. So I weighted the dough, and so now I know how much how many every ball will. I'm trying to remember how much it weighs. 1 minute. They did it for me today. How much every ball weighs? 200? 200? 200. Okay. Okay, so the balls weigh 200 grams each, okay? And I'm going to make 2 kinds of challah. Can I show them how I make 2 kinds of?
Sure, go ahead real quick. We have time. Take a quick look.
Okay. So I'll start by making the one who's from 4. I think that many people who start working with the dough think they should put some flour like this. And usually the best thing to do is, do I have olive oil? I'm sorry. Is put some olive oil and work with olive oil if you have olive oil in your dough or any kind of oil. Yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to put some oil on my hands. So that will make everything easier for me. Also, I let the balls stand for like 10 to 13 minutes or 14 minutes. Depends if it's a summer. You know, the Israeli summer is very warm. No, it's not that one. Maybe it's this one or that one. Okay. So if I let them stand for 10 to 40 minutes, so it's easier for me to roll them later. It's easier to work with the dough. And now after they're ready, I'm going to
That's my favorite part.
I'm going to spread some flour. Now it will be easier for me to work with them when they are a little bit floured like this. Okay. So now I can start shape everything. How do you call it, Hila? L'shti va'erev. What is the English word for? Okay, we don't know the word for that shape. So I have 2 on the bottom and 2 on top.
Crisscross. A crisscross.
Okay, thanks. So I'm going to do the crisscross shape. Okay.
My partner Jonathan didn't realize that would come in handy for a baking episode.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to go all around to the left side, doing that one. The one that on the bottom is going on the one that on top, going to the left side and all the way like that with all 4 of them. And now I can go back to my right side and cross them like that again.
Judith and Carlo have pointed out it could also be a hashtag.
That's right. It's a hashtag. I should have think about it. Okay, so now I'm going to the left, to the right side again, and I can just take the ends and push them under like that. From here, and now I have a round challah, which looks a little bit small, but it's really getting big when you let it rise for 40 minutes and then you put it on the oven and it keeps rising in the oven and it's becoming amazing. Now, instead of putting each rope in the water and then sesame, so I'm going to do it all together. I will show you. Usually I do it in my kitchen sink, but now we have the water here in the bowl and I'm just going to, it's going to have a bath like that. Okay. את יכולה לקחת את זה? לא, את המים. Thank you. And now, just straight in the sesame. And that's it. So it's full, beautiful and full with sesame. And can I show another one?
You can work on it, but let me get back to Shannon real quick, just while you're playing in the kitchen. Shannon, I know you feel very passionate about baking challah and baking bagels. I wanted to get you on record. Is it even possible to have a bagel, to bake a bagel without boiling the bagel first?
Well, so we're, I don't want to, Jerusalem bagel, what Keren is talking about, is vastly different than an American bagel or a true Polish Jewish bagel, because that's where bagels come from. The bagel that she's talking about, Jerusalem bagel, it's a Middle Eastern bagel. It's also related to, in Turkey, what's called a simit. It's shaped like an oval and it's not boiled. It's baked and it's covered in sesame seeds. It's a street food. You dip it in oil and za'atar, you rip it. Totally, totally different thing. bagels, which come from Poland and traveled from Poland to New York, to Montreal, Toronto, London, those have to be oiled and then baked to be a true bagel. So yes, and they are considered sort of related to a pretzel with a Germanic background, and that boiling process is what gives its crispy, shiny exterior, which does define it as a bagel, because a bagel shouldn't be kind of soft and not crisp. It should give your mouth or your jaw a workout to eat it properly.
Now there's an interesting image, giving your jaw a workout. Well, as we're watching Keren finish up on her second version of this challah, and we're looking at the next tray of treats that it looks like that will result. Oh, there's an example of an American style bagel. Shannon, are you proud of that? Is that one of your kids holding that bagel?
That's my older daughter many years ago holding a rainbow bagel. So I don't know how many Great British Baking Show fans there are, but this was a recent challenge, was to make a rainbow bagel on the Great British Baking Show. And while rainbow bagels are not my favorite American iteration of bagels, they are certainly fun and very challenging. But the Great British Baking Show, they got it wrong, because they allowed such a short window that there was no way that the bakers could produce a really good bagel in I think it was under 2 hours. It was 1 hour and 45 minutes for bake time. No way. A proper bagel has to do at least an overnight rise, if not longer, to properly ferment, so that the gluten develops, so that you get that really good chew and a little bit of sour taste. It's really quintessential to a proper bagel. But yes, the rainbow bagel is the most American of all of the bagel innovations, I think you could say.
Well, at the top of the hour, Keren showed us a rugelach that she called the sun and sunshine. And at the top of the hour, you have from Shannon the rainbow bagel, and this idea of giving your mouth a good workout with your just desserts. So let me make a couple of quick program announcements since we're coming to the end, and I promise the last image we'll show will be of we're seeing it now, of Keren's beautiful braided challah. This series that we've been doing, the Friends Indeed series, started actually in my kitchen earlier in the year. But nothing quite as ambitious as what we brought you here today, with some amazing insights into baking and cooking. Over the last few months, we've been running this little donation match to ask for small gifts each week that the Milch Foundation agreed to support. And I'm not going to ask you about it anymore, because yesterday was October 31st. We finished the campaign. The goal for the campaign was to raise over $100,000 over these last couple of months in matched gifts. And the vast majority of those gifts were small gifts. And I am thrilled to report from the AIFL team, both in Israel and in the United States, that we exceeded the goal of $100,000. Special thanks to the Milch Foundation and to Diane Wool and to Andrew Karai, who helped us meet that match, and to all of you who, each of you that sent in contributions, we really are very grateful. Program announcement about next week: we will not be on at the regular time, so don't log on at the exact hour of noon Eastern time. Instead, we will be on a little bit later in the day at 2:30 Eastern time, and we will send out invitations afterwards with the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra for all of you to see live on the webinar. And of course, many of you know that this year we were not able to do our Partners for Democracy Award in Manhattan, as we always do each year. But instead, this year, actually on next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. in Israel, we will be have a special version of virtual simulcast from the King David Hotel It's going to be amazing. Read about it on our website. And if you're able to, we would love to have you join us as well. Many of you have asked whether you're going to get to see the recipes, and we will. We promise we will send it out. We have some other recipes we're going to send you from prior episodes that'll be coming out in the email to everyone that's on our mailing list. Take a look at what you have to look forward to. If you just dig a little, give it a try. Keren and Shannon told you it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look perfect. We have more time on our hands, and today you have even more time on your hands with the extra hour. So try something new, try something great. Shannon, thanks to you. Keren in Jaffa, thank you. Toda Rabbah. We hope you'll get some of that rain from Eilat as well. And nonetheless, you'll be able to go out to the beaches as well. So we'll say goodbye and Lehitraot to everybody, and look forward to having everyone back with the Israel Philharmonic next week, a little bit later. Shavua Tov.